Alright, let's just make sure this is going up. I got a little bit of
I
a
should
little
lower the
warning there.
volume on this game, just in case.
Can you hear me properly?
I mean, yeah, I can hear you fine.
Alright, well, welcome to the podcast with no name, as of right now. I'm here with, I guess, my first guest in history, Andres.
Hey, thanks for
Um,
having me.
This is a little awkward at first because I haven't done this before, but essentially I think this is going to be a podcast for me to kind of talk about the weird things that go on in my life and my friends' lives, and just
And
kind
to
of
keep you
be.
from going insane.
Oh yeah, that's like a big thing. Make sure I don't go absolutely mental, as the British would say. I've been watching a lot of British dating shows, especially Love Island, and my vocabulary has been tainted, as some would say.
Mm.
But yeah, the reason that Andres is the first guest is he kind of gave me the idea. I think he gave me the idea. He says that it was my idea. I don't think I'm that creative, but
So I said that you're a good storyteller, and you mentioned uh of considering doing a podcast, and I just said it would work out because you can tell stories
because I can tell
pretty well.
stories. I can tell stories. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably get into my stories at some point during this or future episodes, but this is episode one. Um, man, how am I gonna start this? All right, so let's just get into you, Andres.
Oh
Um,
boy.
you go to college currently. Don't say where. I don't want you to get fucking doxxed. I probably shouldn't curse in this.
I welcome the doxing.
Okay, well, you go to college in Chicago. Going for computer programming or
Computer game development.
computer game development. So you're gonna be a Game Boy, you know.
Sure am. Can't wait
Uh,
to get in that industry.
and that kind of brings up another point about this podcast. Is I wanted to do this because I'm currently in grad school, and it is killing me internally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I feel like any illy way it is murdering me, and I kind of just need like a place to vent about that. And I think you probably have the same experience as I do being in college as well.
Yeah, college is pretty draining.
Yeah, it's a weird thing about society in that we have to go to college so that we don't die or end up homeless. And I've thought about
Well,
it. I think I would want to be homeless. Honestly.
um, I mean, I've had to deal with the homeless people in Chicago. I don't think I'd want to be homeless.
They still
That,
having a
that's
great
just
time,
me.
man. I
That's
mean,
just me.
ass out, dog. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I've only, been on the red line and see a dude with his ass literally hanging out and with his ass towards me and hoping and just thinking, I have to walk past this man.
You
I
do.
hope he doesn't talk to me.
Man, it's I think it's funny to think about when you encounter a homeless person, it feels kind of like an encounter in video games where you're like, what are my options here? I don't want to attack. I can't run away. Can I run away?
Can
What
you
items
attack?
do I have to
Hold on,
get rid of
hold on.
them?
You said you can't attack or you won't
I
attack.
don't want to attack. I mean, what items do I have in my bag to use? Do I have any money or a potion or a food or something in my bag? Do I have any friends with me I can throw it in the way? Stuff like that. Kind of like a Pokemon battle
Yeah.
situation. Da 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 da. All that shit. Um, yeah, and oh shit. Oh man. So yeah, part of this is just a way for us to vent as well. I feel like Andres doesn't get to vent as much as I do because I'll fucking talk about this stuff.
Oh, see, I don't vent. I just keep all of my emotions inside until they're ready to burst.
That's called being a dude. I think that's just part of us being guys. It's hard. It's weird for us to vent, to people that aren't our fellow friends. Um, yeah, I guess I should speak about how I met you, Andres. So people get an idea of that. Do you
Sure.
remember that at
Because
all?
actually I'm curious to see how you think we met.
How I think we met. Okay, okay. Well,
Because for all I know, I might be wrong.
well, here's what I know. I could totally be wrong, but We both come from the same town, Maryville, Indiana. I'll just dox myself there.
I
And
mean, you're talking both of us right now.
yeah, I don't live there currently. Anyway, we both went to the same town and we went to the same school district. We were both inside of this advanced academic program. I think it's the honors program, right?
Yep, yep.
I have the belief that I think I met you possibly in fifth grade at a intermediate school. That's what I
Okay.
think, and I think it was a
So
product of knowing. Do you remember Gage?
that was in 6th grade.
That was sixth grade. All right, so sixth grade is when I
Sixth
encountered you
grade is
through
when
Gage.
I met Gage. Yeah.
Okay.
But okay, so you were right. You were on the right track. So what I know,
This is how I know we've known each other for too long. We can't remember how we met. It's that.
so it was 5th grade honors math. I believe I remember there was for some reason we were building something out of Legos.
Oh, okay.
I
You know
think
what?
we
You
were
know
both
what?
in the same group.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. Was there a robotics thing we had to do at some point?
Yeah, I think it was like automated Lego creations.
Okay, I think that's when we met. I don't think that was. Okay, hold on. What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Iddings.
You went to Eddings. All right. So I went to Miller. Then I was transferred to Salk for their honors program. Then I kept going.
Y-
So so yeah, we definitely met then because I remember that, and that was. I think that's the first time in life. You know, there's times in life when you realize that you're dumb, right? Like there's points in times in life you realize that you're behind other people. Because I remember seeing the robotics thing, and I was like, "Oh, that seems really cool." And then the teacher was explaining how we are gonna go about doing it, and I was like, "Nah, I don't think I can get that going." So I'm gonna just expose myself here. I told my dad about the project, and then he looked up online on Google. This is like back in like the thousands, so this is like rare activity. How to do it, and we just kind of just faked it, you know.
I'll be honest, I don't remember what I did for that project or what we did. Um,
It was a
I
group based
vaguely,
project.
yeah, I vaguely remember a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's. I feel like the weird thing about that is that I remember in the time of like fifth and sixth grade in like grade school and high school being being like it was so important, you know, like my life and stuff. Then the older I get, the less important I feel, which is kind of depressing to say, but I think that's just like a product of you know how life is. Because I could tell you I have no idea what I did for most of grade school. Honestly, I don't really remember any of my high school, to be honest with you,
I
except for
mean,
playing video games.
I had a pretty boring high school career, so
High school career.
yeah,
Yeah, but there we okay. So we had met then, right? We had met in sixth
you
grade,
know,
but
5th grade.
fifth grade.
Yeah,
But I don't think we became friends until the infamous time known as the 360 era. You
yeah,
know,
in 8th grade, because
that
I
was eighth
think
grade.
from fifth, in between 5th and 8th grade, we didn't have any classes
No,
together.
we did not. I don't think we did. Because I think we're in different teams or whatever. The
Yeah,
way that our middle and intermediate school works is they put you in groups that they call teams because you know America,
I'll be
and
honest, I don't know why they did that.
I think it's easier to like give us a color. It sounds weird. Give us a color than it is to like tell kids you're in group A, B, and C because some of the kids are a little you know challenged.
Yeah, but like they rotated the honors teams, so it's
Yeah.
like
Well,
if it was because of that, there's really no point.
the grouping. I don't know if you know. So the grouping was based on test scores. So like typically
Uh,
the honors group was put with the team that had low test scores just to even it out. That's why that's how it usually went. So like usually the general color was supposed to be about even for each.
now that I think about it, that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Most of our classes with their teammates were wild times. You know what I mean? Like,
Like
man.
that just reminds me of a time in chemistry, sophomore year. Like we were doing a test,
Hmm.
and our teacher was like, "All right, this is a partner test. Everyone's gonna partner up." and Tyler was in my class, and I sat next to Tyler. And so like when she said, "All right, we're gonna partner up now," me and Tyler already knew. All right, we got this. But then she said, "No, you two can't partner up. We need to pair you up with one of the dumb people."
Yeah,
So I got paired up with someone, I guess, who was failing,
of course you did.
and I just did all the work. And then I was, it
Yeah,
just,
that
the fact that she flat out said, "I need to pair you up with someone dumb."
yeah that was kind of our purpose in our teams was I guess to be like I don't know like helpers or whatever, just to like make sure that whoever we were paired up with um, could like we could like help the teacher like take care of like kids who are falling behind, you know.
See, here's the thing though. In that chemistry class, Tyler and I would just do our homework during class, and then the rest of the class we would just fuck around, not
Yeah,
paying attention.
I feel like I don't know if this is just a like a statement on the American education system. I feel like the jump from high school to college is ridiculous, you know?
Um,
Like I feel like you could graduate high school and then you could like pretty easily and then go to college and just get absolutely destroyed, you know?
yeah, high school definitely doesn't prep you for college. Even like we took like AP and honors classes, it really
Yeah.
didn't prep you.
Yeah.
But now that I'm almost done, like, and I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, actually, you know what? College is really isn't that bad either.
Yeah, but I think that a lot about it that is just you got used to the pain, you know?
Yeah, that could be a thing.
It's just like you're getting hammered in the back of the head repeatedly, and eventually you're just like, you know, this isn't that bad. You know, if you get past the first 5,000 hits, you're good to go. Honestly,
Yeah,
truly.
just take it in the chin a couple thousand times.
Yeah,
You'll get
man.
used to it.
Oh man. Um. So yeah, just I have some topics here that I'm gonna talk to you about. Just try to get this conversation going smoothly. I want to talk to you about a thing that you've recently become kind of a into. I don't know how to describe this. I think it's an
All
addiction.
right, I already know where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, porn. I want to talk to you about. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm
I
joking.
can't stop beating my meat.
Of course, I mean Yu-Gi-Oh. You've recently. I mean, like, you've recently started buying the packs. So I think you've always had a collection, right?
Yeah, of course.
Now, when you started collecting, was it because of like the show on TV?
So, if I remember right, I watched the show and I obviously loved it. And
That's true. I mean,
I watched the show, loved it, and then I think my parents just realized, all right, he likes this show. And then, like, just one day, they gave me a pack of cards, and they told me to open them, and then, like, oh, these are Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's pretty neat. So then, whenever we'd go to the store, I, like, asked for a pack, and then my collection slowly grew over the years. But then I eventually grew out of it, and now
uh,
that I have money, and I'm almost an adult, I am getting
you're
getting
getting
back
back
into my
into it,
addiction. Yeah,
going
full
digging
force,
down even deeper.
full force.
That's some wild ass shit. Um, so I mean, I guess I can say that I also was kind of went on the same pathway where I remember watching the show and I was like, I remember this vividly because it's kind of embarrassing. I was like, you know what, I want to go as Yami Yugi for Halloween.
Funny you should say that.
Of course, because everyone did it. Like that's the thing. I feel like if you're at the, because I mean I've also collected cards. I feel like if you're at the level of collecting cards, you definitely tried to go Yami Yugi for Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we should probably talk about Yu-Gi-Oh in case the three listeners I get have never heard of this. They're probably from like Sri Lanka or something, so they're gonna be like, "What is it? What is a Yu-Gi-Oh?" So why don't you give us a quick explanation, Andres, because you're the expert.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call myself an expert, but it's just a trading card game. Um, that just so happens to have an anime that's pretty popular. It was aired in the early 2000s, I believe, late 90s. Could be wrong on that. But yeah, that's like the basic stuff.
And it
I
has.
find it hard to believe that no one's heard of it.
I mean, I feel like someone else. I mean, we're also. I guess this is weird to think about. But we're kind of old, So There's a
Uh,
bunch of kids that have probably never they've only watched like
I mean,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, you know? They don't know about Yami
give you
Yugi
that. I'll give
and
you that.
Joey Wheeler.
The new series, I have no idea
Oh
about.
man. What I kind of want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh for a second. It is it is such a strange show because it's a world in which everything is solved with duels.
Yeah,
Where imagine instead of pulling out your fists or guns or a knife, you pull out a deck of cards, and then miraculously there's always a place to put your cards that broadcast these monsters, and that's how you settle your arguments. If someone beats up your granddad, you get your deck out and you battle them until they essentially get mind raped.
the
And
police are non-existent in this world.
yeah, I would love to see a police officer in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, and he just whips out just
He just
just
up deck.
Egyptian god cards, and that's his entire deck. It's just the most broken cards. He's like, you lose and you go to jail.
A robber gets caught,
Well, I guess
pulls up the
jail.
gold.
Oh yeah, Robert gets got pulls up
You
the
beat
code.
me, you're free to go.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I guess in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess jail would be the Shadow Realm, Shadow World. What's it called?
I think that's more like hell.
I mean, I find it weird that it's a show in which, oh well, the Yu-Gi-Oh costume is actually. Oh, I wanna cast this real fast. Oh shit! I think I forgot that. Well, that's my actual camera.
Mm.
Let me do my screen so that you can see what I'm looking at. All right. So yeah, I think this is the actual Yu-Gi-Oh costume
Alright,
that I
let's see.
that I used right here.
Yeah,
As a
that's
young
the one I
kid.
had.
That's the exact one. Oh man. Uh, yeah. What was I on? So yeah, the Shadow Realm is a thing that exists in this game where your soul is sent to the. I don't know if your body also sent to the Shadow Realm.
I think it's just your mind or your
Your
soul.
mind is teleported there. Um,
It's been a while.
yeah, I definitely accidentally stopped the recording because I think I set up a button wrong. But I actually restarted it the same way. But yeah, we're just gonna keep going. Anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. So yeah, the thing with you is that you've started collecting the cards again, and you've been buying these massive booster boxes.
Yeah, it's
Booster box.
the first time I've actually done it, and
Doing these unboxings as you
yeah,
know. And
and the thrill is amazing.
the thrill is amazing. It's so weird because you stream it, and I've watched it, and it seems like you're having a good time, but a lot of it's just you looking at your webpage to see
Yeah,
how much the cards are worth. You know.
pretty much. It's the thrill of, oh, how much money did I lose with this card?
Well, that's the thing. It's like you put in like an amount of money. Like let's say you put in like $60, but you can actually pull some cards that are worth like 10 cents, or sometimes $30, right? And that can
Yeah,
that can either make it like so that the cards you got are equal to the price you paid, less than, or more. Kind of like anything in the world, I guess.
yeah. Like last night, I was $3 short of breaking
Yeah,
even.
$3 short of
My
breaking even.
best, technically not my best pull, but as far as like breaking even, that's the closest I've
Yeah.
gotten.
Now, I guess I should ask: is there any other things you collected Pokemon cards for sure,
I
right?
used to. The game always confused me on how to play it,
Yeah,
so I never got into it as much. And because I also played the games, I felt like I didn't need the cards.
true, true.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh, the cards were the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever played the Yu-Gi-Oh games that came out like when we were a
Yeah,
little bit older. Hard as hell. Those are the hardest things I've ever had to play because I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's a type of thing where, for instance, Pokemon, right? They kind of like teach you like how Pokemon work and like how to like essentially build a team. It's something you can easily like grasp. Whereas
Yeah.
for Yu-Gi-Oh, it's very like rule based, and you have to understand the rules of all the cards, and your deck can't just be cards you think are cool, because if you do that, you're probably not going to have cards that work together in a way that, like, I guess it sounds like it, like, duh, like, you obviously have to have cards, but like when you're a kid, you're like, I just want to have all the cool cards from the show, but if you do
Yeah.
that, you're going to get just destroyed on the playgrounds, unless you cheat like I did. I cheated all the time. I mean, I would make up rules on the spot just to steal people's cards.
I mean, hey, that's what they did in the show.
I mean, yeah, the show did that as
They
well.
made random fake cards. They faked rules just so whoever could win.
I made myself the main character.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about you, but I collected almost every single available collectible cards because I was weird as a child. I had Zatch Bell collectible cards, which I think no one in the world knows what those are. It's an anime that aired when we were children that I happened to get really into. If you're watching my stream still, this is what it looks like. And I used to collect their cards, which
I don't even vaguely remember this.
of course you don't. No one watched it except for me. I'm pretty sure it was just me watching the show, and
Actually, that
millions of Japanese children. It came on TV. You've probably seen it on TV and just said no, thank you.
actually, like, the more I'm looking at this now, I think I have seen it like for 2 minutes and I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah, like, it was a weird show. I mean, I won't get into it too much, but it's basically a show where a bunch of, I guess, middle schoolers have children that randomly approach them and say, I have a magical book that if you read, I'll do like a spell, and you have to fight other magical children. It's just Pokemon, but make
Yeah,
the Pokemon a child, and you only have
yeah.
one. You
So
only
so
have
instead
one.
of so instead of animals fighting against each other, you have kids fighting each other.
Yeah, and when they lose, they go back to their original world, which is described to them as just hell. Um, and they're doing this battle to decide on their king, and the main character is like kind of like a rich snobby kid, and he gets this kid who's the opposite of him, and he's like, I want to be like, king. I don't know why I want to be king, but I want to be like, a nice one, and that's like the general. I mean, like these shows kind of have like a good wholesome message for kids, but they also teach
Yeah,
kids that if you read a book, you can just
uh,
spit lightning as the main character does.
and fight other kids, and send them to hell so you can become king.
Oh man, I'm seeing some spoilers for a show that I haven't watched since I was a kid, but wild stuff out here. So yeah, I collected Zatch Bell cards. I had Harry Potter trading cards, which look kind of like these. I mean, you've seen these, I'm sure.
I'm not, I wasn't too much into Harry Potter, so I actually
Yeah,
haven't.
neither was I. I didn't watch the movies until I think 2 years ago. I just was that weird where I would collect these cards. I collected Harry Potter cards. I collected Digimon cards. Um, oops, I don't want to go there. I collected also Digimon cards, which looked kind of like weird and like bootleggy, as you can see here.
Definitely have a bootleggy look to them.
And then there was like Duel Monsters.
There's a $65,000 one.
Yeah, I, I need to check my books. So I used to collect them in these these binders with like sheets and stuff. I need to check and see what the value is of my books. I bet you it's probably like $10.20. I can get some good McDonald's meals from that. Anyway, I was a huge nerd, but we didn't know each other at this time, so I didn't. I had to hide that as I grew and went on to middle school.
See, I never hid that. I brought my cards to school, unprompted, mind you. I brought mine to school unprompted, and I just so happened to run into people who also had cards. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. None of my cards can function as a deck, but I want to look at your cards,
You'd
maybe
pretend,
and
yeah.
trade. Yeah, and maybe
I actually
trade.
have this Dark Magician. That's crazy. Wow,
I
that's
think I
weird.
used to at one point.
Huh, that's funny. I mean, like, I don't know if I've told you the story before, but the reason I kind of had to, like, hide my weird nerdy shit was because one day I went to elementary school and I had brought, like, a back... Because I used to have so many cards, I used to, like, just shove them in the bottom of my backpack. And I would
Mm.
just grab them, like, grabbing chips and make a deck
Yeah.
for whenever I was playing. And I guess one day I was in, like, class in like third or fourth grade, and the teacher for one of my classes. Well, I guess back then you only had one teacher, right?
Yeah,
I
in
feel like yeah.
elementary.
The
Except for like art. But yeah.
she grabbed my backpack. I think she like wanted to see what I was like messing with, and she found my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and she said these are satanic, and that would not be an issue if she wasn't also like a family friend of like my parents. So then I remember I was like, these are satanic, and I was like, I was worried because like I knew this teacher like in person. I was like, oh man, I must be really fucking up as like a young 8-year-old to be not thinking about the fact that my parents bought these cards and they knew like I didn't have like an income like that. And I remember I went home and like she had called my parents and they're like, what's going on? I was like, oh, like the teacher had said that like, these are a little satanic, and she was like, you're fine. Just go like, just go do whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I didn't think about it anymore. But yeah, I kind of started to hide it more because I was like, I don't want to get in a situation where, because like back then when a teacher says that like something you have is like bad, every kid in the room goes, ooh, like that. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
It was garbage.
I never came across someone telling me that they're satanic. Like same thing with Pokemon. Like I know people like, oh, that's
Yeah.
the devil.
Hmm.
But like I never came across that. Like my family was always buying me the games or the
That's
cards.
the thing too. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'd never even heard about it being the devil or satanic until I got older.
I mean, that's
Like,
great for you. You had a great childhood, from what I'm telling from that. Man, yeah, I had to kind of hide that, and then, I mean, you guys now know that I've always been a huge, just garbage nerd. Because I just talked to you about a show I watched about kids fighting each other, that I watched just on TV because I was that lame. Um, and there's other stories too where I was on a baseball team, like a little league baseball team, and I we were pretty good. I remember I pitched like a no hitter for a game, and it was
that's
like my
pretty good.
last game of the season. And then I decided I was gonna quit because I wanted to watch Naruto on Saturdays instead of go to my games. And then the next season, my team, which only got better, they had decided that they were good enough, and they eventually made it to the Little League World Series. And I was like, oh damn, like looking back, I'm like, oh damn, I could have potentially gone, but I mean, like, there's no future for me in that. There's always a future for me in weird nerdy anime. I could have never been a famous baseball player. I don't have the body for it, but I do have the body for an anime
Uh,
junkie.
well, I guess it kind of depends. I mean, now there's like, if you mean by like, our height, which
Right, I
isn't
mean,
great,
yeah.
if that's what you're referring to. I mean, there's some um baseball players that are on the shorter side. I believe the shortest one is like 5'6".
Yeah, but like, here's the thing. People always talk about this for like the shortest. The shortest one is like close to my height, and then I always think, yeah, but he's also hella talented. Like, people bring up for basketball. There, when I said I quit basketball because I'm short, they were like, well, Muggsy Bogues was like 5'3". I was like, he had unparalleled talent. Like, you can't just be a 5'3" guy in the NBA and just be like, oh, you know what, I'm kind of good. You have to be gifted at that. And then like his career ended because when the league started putting in taller and taller players, he just couldn't handle that. You know, there's
Yeah.
only so far that your body can take you, which is kind of just the thing you have to accept. You know, you know. I don't like I mean like obviously like, my height is a weird thing that I just have to like. I feel like also I should probably talk about this because we're on the spot for it, but I feel like when I was growing up, I didn't care about my height, and then all of a sudden when I reached like the age of like me being like in college and I'm alone and like with people that are like my age, um, just kind of like in the dating age stuff like that. People were like, "Oh man, you're short as hell, dog." Like I feel like all of a sudden my height was just the garbage. I went from being just a regular dude to just being garbage height McGee.
See, I always acknowledged that I was shorter than everyone else, and I was just like, what the fuck? And my parents would always tell me, "Oh no, you'll be taller. You're like your uncle had his growth spurt when he was in high school." So I was like, "All right, I guess when I reach high school, I'll be like everyone else. I'll be taller."
hmm
High school came and went. I grew like maybe an inch or two.
I remember. Oh man, I remember thinking like, "Oh man, can't wait for my little growth spurt to hit." And then my parents are like, "You're 17." It already hit. I'm sorry, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I was always in like the middle of those like, because I used to get physicals all the time because I was a really active kid. I was always in the middle of the physical chart, and then eventually I just started moving lower down the physical chart in terms of like height and weight. And so eventually I ended up being like 130 pounds, maybe, and 5'4", and in my freshman year, not five, probably like 5'3" in my freshman year of high school, and then I just slowly grew from there. I've been watching documentaries about like sports players, and they like talk about like how they like enter college at like some height, and then like sophomore year of college, they just get like a 6-inch growth spurt, and I'm like, oh damn, dude, like what happened with me? I would love for like just I would take honestly, I would take 3 extra inches. I'm 5'6", by the way, so I guess I should probably mention that, and I would be fine with 5'9". 5'8" would be fine too. I
I
feel like if I
mean,
was 5'8", I'd be happy.
hell, I'd be fine with 5'7". That make me taller than the average woman.
I mean, I can get that. I can cheat that. That's easy. Just put some insoles in your shoe, and you gain like a
See,
little bit.
it's weird. Like I don't know if this is the right way to put it. I'm too prideful to do that.
Well, I guess my thing is also I have flat feet, so I have to do it, and that's when I first was like, oh, you know what? I put these bad boys on in, I'll gain a little bit of an inch. But the other thing is I'm lazy as hell, so I don't even do that. I say you should do that to get a little extra inch, but I have not worn one in years. So plus boots help too. I mean, like that's the good thing about getting Tim's is that I went up 2 inches and I was a normal boy for a little bit,
See, like the best part is like,
or an inch and a half.
so I have family in Mexico. The
Mm-hmm.
best part was like, whenever I go to Mexico, up to a certain point, like I was about the same height as all my cousins.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, okay, maybe like I just got away from my growth spurt then, and like my family isn't wrong. And then I just remember one year going to Mexico, and all of a sudden, my cousins were significantly taller than me. I'm like, all right, hold up,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's going on here?
Oh man. Well, the thing is, so here's the thing. Like, I have 3 sisters and a brother, and my brother is about like 5'11", 6 feet tall. My dad's 5'10", and my mom's like 5'8", right?
Yeah.
So I got the literal short stick for height. And I remember being like, oh man, I can't wait till I'm like as tall as my brother, because then I can like I can dog him. Never happened. He stayed his height, and I stayed just garbage. Which is fine. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, I joke around about it a lot, but like, I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm like, there's more to life than being tall. Like living longer, because that's the thing we get. I don't know if you know that. That's like, when you pick a racial bonus in D&D, our racial bonus is that we live a little bit longer than tall people. So
I mean, but what's the point of living longer if living while suffering?
What's the point of living longer if I'm suffering every moment? I don't
Yeah,
know.
if
I
I'm
don't know.
suffering.
I'm trying to make it positive here, you know. I mean, I feel like also with being shorter, you appreciate people more, you know.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I've been watching this dating show. It's called Love Island, and everyone on there is like 5 foot up and stuff, and like the tall dudes are all kind of like mean or garbage to people, and then there's a short guy on there, and he's just kind of like a jokester, and he's like nice. And I feel like especially when people are attractive too. That's the other thing too. I'm short and like not like like a model or anything like that, but like if you're tall and like anywhere near not ugly, you're automatically like like a hot dude, right, or a hot girl. Whereas if you're short, you're kind of already working at like a handicap, And I feel like for people, when you work at a handicap, you tend to just develop more as on like the personality side. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling here. I feel like.
Um, no, I wouldn't. So, yeah, I would say I have to work on my personality, but my personality is just kind of like, de- is this the right word? Depreciating humor? Where I just like shit on myself?
Deprecating.
Deprecating, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I read this article, not read, but I watched this video. And it talked about this, and it was like I don't know how to describe this. This is not my words. This is the guy that whose video it was. He said that women over a 3, right? So he's using the classic scale of 1 to 10. Over a 3, always go for men that are 8 and above, right?
Mm,
and I think that's funny because like I mean I feel like that's the thing that everyone shoots for higher than they consider themselves. But like he said that and he was like, and that doesn't mean that you have to be like just stunning good looks. That means you have to like have that much value of yourself. You have to have like an 8 out of 10 or more like value for yourself. So I think for guys like us, especially me, I think I need to just work on liking myself more, if that makes sense. I feel like that's why I really want to get back into going to the gym, which I know you do. You go to the gym daily now, huh? How's that going?
no, it is. I mean, thank you for lying for me, but no, I don't go.
you go more often than most people, I'd say.
I would think maybe about like on par with everyone else. I go 3 days a week
3 days
typically.
a week, that's not bad. You know, I mean, that's good. I feel like if I go to the gym more, I'll have like more physical um appreciation for myself. Because it feels really bad when you walk any distance and you get like winded. Especially when you used to not like if I walk from here to like an area on campus, I'll feel winded and I'll be like, yo, what is going on? And I'll be like, oh, it's just because the mask. The mask is making me a little bit winded, but I know it's because I'm a little bit out of
Deep
shape.
down.
Yeah.
See, endurance was never my strong suit. But like, even when I wasn't like overweight, like I still could not run like a long time or like do
I just
an
don't like
activity
running.
for a
I
long
I
time.
hate running.
Yeah, I hate it too.
That's why I really liked when I started doing rows. I really liked doing that because it felt better than just running. I get terrible shin splints. That's it too.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
And I don't know if that's because I don't stretch. I feel like I should stretch more. I need to work on my stretching, but you know, what can you do honestly? What can you possibly
Um, you just give up.
do? Oh man. And I want to share with you a quote, Andres, that I thought of when I was supposed to be studying. Is that a correct sentence? Supposed to be studying?
Yes.
When I was supposed to study. A question? No. Anyway, the shit. Sorry, I'm just closing a lot of tabs right now. The quote I came up with, it's not really, it doesn't make sense, I don't think. But essentially it's nothing is as interesting to me as anything I discover instead of actually studying. And by that I mean anytime I'm studying and I just find like a weird video or a weird YouTube channel or a weird show, that's always 100 times more interesting than anything I could be studying or like preparing for like school. Do you understand what I'm
Of
saying?
course. Yeah, of course. I should be working right now, but I'm not.
I mean, like, I'm known to just discover a weird YouTube channel, or just start getting into weird YouTube. Like, I got into watching UFC compilations recently, and the thing with it is that it's always so interesting when you're supposed to be studying, and then immediately after the studying segment ends, like after your exam or after like your project or after your presentation, it doesn't. You don't even care about it anymore. At least for me, I just drop it.
Yeah.
Oh
It's like
man,
once you have your freedom, it's like, well, I don't need this anymore.
I definitely don't need this anymore. And it's just a cycle that repeats.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like right now, I'm really into Destiny. I'm sure once I have free time, like it's like the amount of time I want to spend playing this is gonna go significantly down.
Yeah, I feel like that's me right now with No Man's Sky because it should be frustrating me a lot more than it is because I think I'm the only person in the world that I can't run it. Everything my computer does is tell me to not run No Man's Sky, but because I need something to do instead of worrying about school, I'll go through all these links. I'll go through the file locations. I'll use any weird method I can find on Reddit to run No Man's Sky to play for a couple hours. Yeah, man, it's weird to think
Yeah, I don't
about.
know why you're having so many issues with that either.
That's just my life, honestly. Like
Like you have the same computer.
oh yeah, we
You
should probably
can't
talk about
run
that too. So, I kind of lost track of where we were starting, but essentially, we became good friends during the Xbox 360 era because, I think like a group of us just, I don't know how the group started because I wasn't there for the inception, but it was you, our friend Juan, and someone else
So it
started
was
this group,
me, Juan, and Aaron. We were the
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 OGs,
OGs, yeah.
and
And that was in seventh grade.
that was seventh grade. I was introduced because so this is how I don't know if you ever heard this story. Essentially, I was just a lonely boy, and one day for Christmas, my parents had bought me an Xbox Live card. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, like the Xbox Live, like
Yeah, like the gold card.
yeah, like
You
1 year
can play
Xbox
online.
Live thing. And they'd also bought me like a Call of Duty game. And I think this was the turning point between me becoming a nerd or me becoming a Chad, a short Chad, mind you, but a Chad, because I was literally with my brother watching the NBA Finals, and I guess I don't think was Snapchat a thing. I had posted
That
somewhere,
was in
maybe
high school.
maybe it was on
Probably
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah.
I posted on Facebook that I had gotten like this crazy load for Christmas, and Arnold had seen it, and he was like, "Oh, you should play with us, right?" And I remember watching the NBA Finals game as my brother's like trying to get me to become a basketball boy. I would have been playing only 2K alone
Oof.
if this had gone a different way. And I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna hang out with my friend online." And then I played with him and like his friends. And then I remember one day he was like, "Oh, let's join up with Andres and Aaron and them." And I was like, I think I know who he's talking about, And I joined with them. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if like I just decided to stay with you guys, but that was it. I mean, I was with the group until now, essentially.
Yeah.
It was so weird. And I had gotten Black Ops, but I also had Modern Warfare. And me and Arnold were playing Modern Warfare until he got Black Ops. And then when he got it, that's when I started playing with you guys. And I had the best time of my life. I mean, we used to play Michael Myers. Remember that? We used to play Michael Myers. That was the thing we used to do.
It was a great time.
We did quick scoping lobbies.
Those were simpler times.
Those are simpler times. No game has ever come close to that in Halo Reach. I mean, those two games were my fondest memories of that time. My God.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Minecraft is up there.
I mean, I think Minecraft is more of like our recent closest proximity to that.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
closest
yeah,
we've
we can
gotten.
play that now.
Where we play Minecraft. I mean, man, we've taken quite the journey as a group. Because we started on Xbox 360, and then we bought into the Xbox One, and that, as the two viewers that are watching this know, is a massive failure. Um, it it had like maybe like 10, 15 games that released for it exclusively, and our friend Aaron decided that we should go to the PC route, and that's how we ended up here. Playing PC games like Minecraft
And
modded.
then here we are, me with a expensive computer playing the games I would have played on my Xbox.
Exactly. But to be fair, I don't think we would have been able to play those Xbox games in the time frame that we did. You know, I don't know.
I guess.
I mean, we played a lot of GTA 5 back then.
Yeah,
I don't think we're ever gonna play that again, but you know.
probably not, especially since I don't think we can carry over stuff anymore.
I mean, I got it for free, so if they do that, I'll be ready to go. Randy. Um, yeah, but yeah, that also brings up the topic of us having basically the same computer because I don't know about you, but I think we had like the same time period that we had enough money to build a computer,
Yeah.
and that's how we spawned. I don't know how this started, but we had to come up with like a name for our computers or something like that. I don't know how this started, but the naming scheme was that it had to be done before December, and somehow like our builds had come through in between December and January, so we ended up calling it December and January. I don't remember
Yeah.
why.
I don't remember either anymore.
I don't remember why there was a
Aaron was
naming
just
convention.
building the compute or PCs, and you just spit out December in January.
That's a thing that I would say for sure.
And I mean, I was instantly on board.
that we that that you were, yeah, yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So next up, I kind of want to ask you, because this is something I discovered about you recently, is that you're a massive horror movie fan.
I
Crazy.
wouldn't say massive.
I mean,
I just watch them, and it's like that's pretty neat.
I just want to know. I want to just know like how this happened. Like how did this begin? Like how did you start your horror phase?
So I just want to start off with I was never like this in the beginning.
What do
Like
you
I was
mean? What do you mean I was never like this? That's so ominous. What does that mean?
so what I mean is when I was a small child, um, I wouldn't watch horror movies, right?
Hmm.
Like um, I remember I forgot what movie it was. I think it was one of the Aliens movies, I believe, or maybe one of the Screams. I don't remember exactly. Point is, I was weird about it, so like I didn't want to watch the movies because they were scary. So what I would do was my parents would be downstairs watching the movie and my room would be upstairs. I would go to the bottom of the stairs,
Hmm.
just kind of peek over the wall to look at the movie, but not really look at the movie. So like I wanted to watch, but I didn't want to get scared. Like I was too scared to actually sit down with my parents and watch. But like I would still like from a distance watch like that was okay.
Oh, so you'd like it. I get it, kind of. It's like you're not like the primary viewer. You're like kind of like a background viewer. So it's like it's less scary, I guess, because it's like you're peeking at it. You're like taking a little bit of it at a time.
Yeah, and like whenever I would get too scared, I could just easily stop peeking.
True. Yeah. True. I think I'd like the opposite of you as a child, and I ended up the opposite as well, where I had an aunt that loved horror movies. Whenever I would visit her, that's also how I got into movies too. Was her. She'd always like play a movie, and I think like 70% of them would be horror. I would watch all these ridiculous horror movies, and I was fine. I was like, oh, this is fine, you know, because I was young and I didn't have like, I couldn't process the fact that I could die in real life yet. You know what I mean? I think we all have that moment where we realize that we're gonna die one day.
That might have happened really young for me then.
I think it happened to me like surprisingly late. Do you know the moment for you for sure?
I think I was maybe, think I was like maybe 8. Because I remember so it was one of the, I remember it was when I was in Mexico, and it was the, fuck, what was the Headless Horseman movie? I think Tim Burton directed it. Sleepy Hollow, that movie. Um, I
I'm
remember,
drunk as fuck right now. That was hard to type.
um,
1999. So you were.
I didn't watch it like when it came out. It was on TV, but I
I
think I
can't
was,
look that up.
yeah. The
Sleepy
point,
Hollow TV.
yeah, no, like it was the movie on TV.
Hold on. Oh, the movie on TV. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
So
2013 to 2017. That's a late time to find out you can die, Andres.
yeah. So
That's like 7 years ago. You discovered you can die.
so I remember that movie playing, and it was the first like actual like horror movie I remember like watching from like start to finish and not like from the top of the stairs.
Hmm.
So, and I just remember like all the people's heads getting cut off and like they were adults. I'm like, oh, okay, this is fine. But then the kid's head got cut off. I'm like, oh shit, I can die.
I'm gonna say that it probably was around late 2000 to early 2001, because I don't know if you remember this, but back when we were younger, movies were in theaters for like months. Do you remember that? But like, that like you'd go to the movie theater and it'd be the same movies from last month.
Do you remember going to the movie theater?
I do, yes. It
That's a
was
great time.
incredible. We used to have 3 movie theaters in Maryville. 2 that were real. One was like a bootleg garbage. Like,
That one has a special place in my heart. I watched the SpongeBob SquarePants movie at that one.
I watched that and I watched Zorro there. But yeah, so you came to realize that you could die in the like the mid 2000s, or I mean early 2000,
Early,
2001,
yeah.
right? I think for me, because I couldn't realize that I was gonna die when I was watching horror movies. I didn't understand that death was gonna come for me one day, you know. So
Mm,
I was watching these movies with my aunt, and I was like, "Oh, these are movies, you know. It's make believe, whatever." And then, and because like everything I'd seen was like Power Rangers, and like when they lose, they just turn into fireworks and they fall on the ground. You know, and then they say, "Ah, you got me," or whatever. Or Scooby Doo, where they're like, "Ah, it wasn't really a monster, just a dude in a suit, you know, hanging out." But I think, I think it was probably. Oh man, this is hard to place. It had to be when my great aunt died, when I was maybe 13, 12. Really late for someone to discover they can die, by the way. I think I should probably mention that as a human being I'm probably a massive failure because I guess I just denied the fact that I was going to die one day. And I remember hearing the news that my great aunt had died, and I was just laying in my bed, and that was the first like right there. That was my first existential crisis. I was like, I'm going to be in a casket one day, and I'm going to be dead. like, it's so weird that that's the thing that everyone has to like think about at one point in time. You know.
yeah.
I was also really religious as a child, so maybe that was it too. Like when you're young and really religious, you're kind of like like yeah, I mean I'll be with Jesus one day, but you don't really think about like what that means for your time on the earth, on Earth, you know.
I was never a religious child. Like I think so like my parents like early on made me go to church,
Yeah.
but then they realized that this kid keeps sleeping through all the masses. why do we keep taking him?
Oh
So then
man,
they stopped, but they
I
still made me go through Sunday school.
I used to do this like thing where I would pretend to sleep in, you know, and and just hope that they wouldn't wake me up, you know.
Mm,
And I managed to skip church a couple of times like that. God, I also hated it because whenever I went to church, they'd want to go and get breakfast afterwards. And you know, this is weird because we live in a pandemic area now, but back then, let's say you wanted to go to IHOP, right? You have to wait until like, you know, they had an open table, but they didn't have like to go back then, did they? Like you couldn't order a meal to be like to go. That was like a
yeah,
rare thing. That's so weird to think about. Like I guess that's like a product of like this pandemic is that now places are like you can order things just to leave here. I mean, I
yeah,
guess that's like been like a thing for a little bit before, but I think it's more widespread now because back then like you used to have to wait for like an hour to get to IHOP or Cracker Barrel.
yeah. Typical like sit down places.
Mm-hmm. Man, I used to hate Cracker Barrel. I can't place it, but I think I just didn't like it because I liked IHOP so much because it felt like a kid's place, and Cracker Barrel felt like I was going to become an old man by walking in there. You know.
Never actually went to Cracker Barrel before. For I have, I don't remember.
Here's the thing now, because I'm older now, it's really good. You know, like like a part of me deep inside doesn't like it, but when I go to eat there, especially for like their like lunch or dinner menus, it's really good. It's just home style food, but it's cooked well. You know.
Like my go-to for breakfast, I guess place was Jedi's Garden. Like that was like my favorite restaurant to go
Jedi's
get
Garden.
breakfast.
Is this
Yeah,
like
you
a
never
Star
heard of it?
Wars thing? Is it a Star Wars thing?
Wait, I just realized it's called Jedi's. I never, I never
Wait,
put
this is
two
a
and two
real
together.
place
Yeah, I never put two and two
in
together. It's
Griffith.
called Jedi's. Yeah.
I think it's probably like Jetties, something like that.
No, cause like like I'm pretty sure they never called it Jedis. I've only ever heard Jedi's.
The one in Griffith. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Old school diners serving breakfast all day. Strong of Greek, Italian, and American eats. Sounds good. I mean, they have no wait. We'll do the next episode of the podcast with you at Jetty's Garden. Jetty's Garden. I'll bring a recorder.
I know it was called Jedi's. There's no way it's Jedis.
It's probably Jedi's. You're right. Oh,
Yeah, man, that's like my favorite place. And
your
then
favorite
like
place?
I remember it like burned down. I was like, oh, now my favorite place is gone. But then they put it back up.
Oh man,
That was
there.
quite the time.
Broadway Cafe was like my favorite place.
A cafe.
Yeah, Broadway Cafe.
Oh, I used to go there. I used to bowl every Saturday when I was younger.
Uh,
And after bowling, we would go there.
yeah, it's closed
But
now. I'm pretty sure it was
yeah,
in
yeah, but
it was in the worst state I've ever seen a place.
yeah, like the food was good and like we went there, right? But then I remember like one day,
I already know what you're gonna say.
you might, I mean, you might not. So I remember one day, like we were ordering our stuff and none of our dishes were clean. Like, like I would start eating like I would always get the same thing, pancake, sausage, eggs, and like I'm like halfway eating through my eggs, and then I look at my plate and it's like dirty under the eggs,
Oh
and
man.
like before that, like my grandma had some coffee and there was still like lipstick on the mug that wasn't hers
Yeah.
because she didn't drink from it yet. I was like, wow, this place is dirty.
I remember I just like you remember one day I've been going there for a while. And then one day I remember looking up and the ceiling was just disgusting. Like I don't know how to describe it. It was just like it was caved in and there was just so much dirt and stuff. And I remember being like, "Yo, this place is kind of gross." As I just shoveled a Belgian waffle into my mouth, you know. My parents must have hated going there. They must have hated it so much. But I just liked their waffles and it was always super fast. I think that was what it was for me. I just didn't like waiting for, you know.
See, the thing is, we all loved it until we realized how dirty it
It was
was.
so gross. So gross. Speaking of, have you ever been to Gauchos?
I don't know
This has
what it
become
is.
food places in the area. Just a food review. Gauchos is this place that used to be between um, where we live and Deep River Water Park,
Okay.
just on that street. And I remember when my parents decided to go there one day, just randomly, and it's just a place where they just serve meat, you know. Like they
Mm,
serve it on a metal spit. Like servers come around with like a large metal like steak, no, like a large
yeah.
metal like spike, and on there is meat like filet mignon, lamb, anything like all like that's where I had like some of the best meat in my life, like the most high quality meat in my life, and it's a buffet too, so you can have as much as you want. The issue was that like immediately after going, I got the worst food poisoning of my life, and it was the day before like our yearly trip to Deep River Water Park. Remember those?
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta go to this Deep River Water Park thing. Oh man, I used to be so jazzed for those. I was like, you know, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
some.
You
That's
get
so,
some.
it's hard
You
to
were
think.
like 12.
Yeah, but that's just that's how kids are. You know, I'm gonna get some. I mean, it's
See,
me. You know.
see, like I don't. Maybe at the time, like I realized that I was never gonna get some, or maybe I just never thought about it. But like I was like, sweet, I can go to a water park and swim and shit. And you're
Oh
like,
man.
I'm gonna get some puss.
I'm gonna get some, but I never did. That's the other thing. It's not like I went out there and was like, I'm gonna go talk to some girls. I just assumed that puss would be thrust upon me. You know, that's not how life is. Um, just funny to think about stuff like that. You know, how far people have come.
I was an innocent child. I never thought about that.
That's good. You know, you're definitely not innocent now because, you know, that's just how life works.
No, I'm still an innocent boy. What are you talking about?
Oh, oh, you're in
Nothing, no,
denial.
nothing I have said tonight can contradict that.
I mean, I'm currently drunk, so that already just removes me from the standing of an innocent child. Um, yeah. What was I talking about? Yeah. So like that's why I didn't really like uh IHOP and stuff and like the whole church thing. We got on like a weird tangent there because I started talking about death and horror movies and stuff. But
We
yeah,
went to like, yo, this restaurant's pretty good.
God, I mean, I mean, yeah. But yeah. So once I realized that I could die, I think that's when I started to like distance myself from like spooky stuff because I didn't want to think about that. And you know, I haven't been really good with horror ever since, unless it's really cheesy. You know, like when I went to go see it, the first one, which isn't a scary movie. Like I think anyone who sees it will tell you it's not scary. I just couldn't do it. You know, I had to. The only way I could like calm myself down for watching was I had to look up the original book for it because I know Stephen King's writings are just ridiculous enough that it
Yeah,
removed the spook from me. You know, I was like, oh man, this guy is weird as hell. You know,
Magic
having
Space Turtles.
magic space turtles, kids having to have sex to get out of a sewer
I
system.
think so. Wasn't this like they wouldn't be scared, or so like they become adults or
They
something?
had to become adults because no kid can escape. You
Yeah,
know,
there you go.
it's like one of those loophole things. You know.
So all of my friends must come inside me.
Oh God, it was. I remember like reading it and I was like, I think I'm not scared anymore of this. And I've talked to before about like how I want to make a haunted house show. We've talked about this before, where I want to make it where the contestants are just tropes on haunted houses. So like one's a child, right?
Yeah,
And that's because like childs always see ghosts, and then like his dad is there, and he's like a single dad that's just like he carries the kid around. One's the guy that like always makes up rules, you know, like how there's always like a rule about like you can't do this to or the ghost will get you, you know. Like I guess in what was the one we watched? We watched Hill House, and the guy was like, oh yeah, you know, um, you got to count, or so the ghost won't get you. And you're like, how does he know that? How does the kid come up with these rules? And then I wanted to make one where one is a stripper, right? Because you gotta have that stripper one. You'd have a drunk person there, because the drunk person, like a person can only see ghosts when he's drunk, because that's my thing. When I get drunk, I can see spooky things, like in Hill House. I can see like the background ghosts and stuff. And then I wanted there to be two things. I wanted there to be a ghost in the show. This is gonna get. I can't describe this, but there's gonna be a registered sex offender.
There
and,
you go.
and the premise was you have to avoid, and you're like, determine if it's a ghost or a sex offender that's chasing you. And the joke was gonna be that you're like, oh god, and you're like, oh wait, it's just you.
Wait.
You're the ghost. Oh thank god. Oh thank god, it's the ghost.
I thought the sex offender was there because we said, one way to like keep the ghost from getting you, right, is where you just like whip it out and you just start beating it,
No,
right?
I wanted the ghost. I wanted the sex offender there because that made it like kind of like a thing. Because like looking for a ghost is one thing, avoiding a sex offender as you're looking for a ghost is another thing. But also, I do have I do have the idea in my brain, because this is the rule I came up with, that ghosts represent representation of death, right? They represent the afterlife, the what comes after life, whereas whereas there's a substance that represents pre-life, what begins the cycle, and that's spum. I had an idea that spum could deflect ghosts or whatever, because I'm a weird kid. Man, God, I am a wild guy. I'm also fucking up this fucking solitaire game over here.
The thing about like ghosts or like the supernatural stuff, like I have many family members who've
Uh-huh.
experienced something, right? I haven't, and I'm honestly jealous. Like I want to see like something like a ghost or just something supernatural, and like everyone who has seen it, they're like, I didn't want to see this, but I saw it. I am the opposite.
I think that's just how it goes. Like, when you want something, it's not gonna come to you. That's not how life works. Sometimes you
See,
have to,
like the closest I have gotten was, again, I was in Mexico.
That's for everything,
It is
huh?
hot in Mexico, so we were all sleeping in the hallway where it was cooler rather than in our rooms. And my cousins told me in the middle of the night they saw a silhouette of a man just walk across the hallway. And they went into the kitchen and they never left the kitchen.
Oh,
And
the
like,
man.
yeah, the man never left the kitchen. And and like as they're telling me this, I'm just like, what the hell? Why didn't you wake me up? Most people like, oh, good, I didn't get waken up. I didn't get waken up by that.
Yeah,
But I'm
that's
complete
me.
opposite.
I've already told Andres that if he ever goes ghost hunting, that's the one thing I won't be there for him for. If he ever
Yeah,
needs
like
me, I'll be there.
I need to
Ghosts,
find me.
fuck that, dude.
I need to find me a ghost hunting crew because none of you guys are down for.
Yeah, I don't know who you expect to go with you. I said get a crackhead. They might be down.
I mean,
You
maybe
could
if I
you,
offer them
you
some
could use
rocks.
you could use the crack as like a bait for them. Just throw it at the ghost and they'll charge it.
Yeah, I guess that could work. But yeah, I definitely want to go ghost hunting at some point in my life.
You definitely do. I can definitely give that. I definitely get that feeling.
Because I just know damn well everyone else with me is gonna see something, and I'm gonna be left out again.
I mean, I thought I had a ghost at my place. Did you try and look for it while you were here?
Um,
Or no, it wasn't worth it.
So we were a little how should I put this? Intoxicated.
That's true, yeah. No one can
Uh,
really do proper ghost hunting when they're under the influence.
yeah, I've always wanted to do the thing where like if you're like in a place that supposedly has a ghost, right? Like you just sleep at that place if it's like some place you can legally sleep at. It's
Yeah.
not like abandoned or anything like that. Um, and just like have a camera and just record myself for the night just to see
Oh
what
boy,
happens,
I would
if
be
anything.
terrified to see that. That's just me, though. I guess you know. I just wouldn't want to. I just wouldn't want to know.
Yeah, that's the drastic change that has happened to me over the years. I went from watching horror movies, peeking over the behind the wall at horror movies to, yo, I want to see a ghost.
Yo, I'm trying to see me a ghost. Where
Where are
you
these ghosts?
ghosties at? Where you at?
Exactly.
Um,
I've come a long way.
I've gone the opposite way. I've just decided that I'd rather never see anything spooky, and because of it, I constantly am afraid.
See, like, since even though I'm Mexican, I feel like I would be the guy in the horror movies where they hear something bump in the night and they go to investigate even though they damn well shouldn't. I would probably be that guy.
Oh man, I'm the guy that's gonna be like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Please don't call me if it does show up. Fuck yeah, I got it. What was I saying? I lost my entire train of thought just then. So I know the alcohol is kicking in.
I remember the talking about you trying to get some puss at Deep River
Yeah,
Waterfront.
it's just a one-off thing though. Can I pause this real fast? Can't. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I don't really care. Um. Oh yeah, I want to talk about video games real fast with you. Um. So you decided you wanted to like make video games. You know. Do you? What's
Unfortunately,
what's the first video game that you remember playing?
um, it's either soup. So it was on the original Game Boy Color. It was either a Pokemon game or a Mario game. I believe it was Super Mario Land for the Game Boy Color. For the Game Boy Color, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was it. Could not get past like the first like I think 4 levels. Like I would always struggle after that fourth level. But like I would still just play the mess out of that. And then I got Pokemon and then it was all game. I was down for anything.
Oh man.
And it's like it's it's kind of funny. Like people say this a lot when like they say, "Oh, what made you want to go into games?" Like, "Oh, I played this really fun game, and that's what made me want to," or something like that. That literally happened to me. Like, I played the Mario game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought in my head, I want to make this.
That's beautiful. You know. It's like a love story.
Like it's still very cliche, even though it did happen to me. But yeah,
You know, at least you have that. You have that passion.
yeah. And now I have that regret.
I mean, I guess
Because now
yeah.
that I know what the industry is like, yeah, I should have just went into like computer science and then just done game stuff on the side. Because now I know that is like the advice some people like to give.
Just
You
do
know,
computer science and do that. I mean,
major in something that'll make you money and what you love, make that your hobby.
yeah, 'cause that's true. I wish I'd done that. Well, I guess I technically am doing that. I'm majoring in. I majored. This is weird to me. I forget that I graduated. I often forget that I have a degree. That's the weird part for me. I graduated with a degree in biology. I'm going to grad school now. Don't know how long that's gonna last. Going to grad school now, um, for biomedical engineering with a focus in basic medical sciences. Um, and I guess the track I'm on is I'm not doing anything that I really like am passionate about. but it's fun, I guess. You know, I guess is the key word there.
I guess.
I think my ideal job would be I'd be out there making movies, you know, or something like that. But I don't have the creative ability for that. You know, it's just the thing I have to think about. I remember my first video game. Back to the video game topic that I remember playing is Sonic for the Sega Genesis. It's the first game I remember playing. Vividly remember it. I don't know why I remember it so vividly, but I was playing it. And then my next big video game moment was when the Game Boy SP came out.
SP.
And I remember I would, because they're like $100. That's crazy thing that there's a mobile console that was $100 buckaroonies. I remember I would take that to school with me, and like after school I'd just play with other kids. Pokemon. That's why I got a full full Pokédeck for, I think it was Magma. Because back then I was buying both. Back then I would buy Sapphire and Ruby.
Oh, you bought both versions.
I would always do that.
You're rich.
Because I was an idiot. Well, the thing with me is that I had that weird thing where my birthday and Christmas were like back to back.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't ask for anything for like an entire year, and then at the end of the year, I'd be like, I want these things. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure. You know, I already have my Christmas bonus or whatever, so that worked out. And then my brother actually is what got me into Pokemon, was because he used to have the original Game Boy, the tall one that used to slide in the fat cartridges in, and he had
the original Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color. He had the Game Boy Color, and then he had Pokemon Yellow in there, and he had the game set where he had every Pokemon. I think he had all of them like level 99. Don't know how he had the time to do that. But he had every Pokemon level 99, and he would let me play from the save from the beginning of the Final Four to beating the Final Four. So I could pick whatever group I wanted to go with and beat the Final Four.
Well, he had a lot of like faith and confidence that you would not delete any.
I have no idea how he let me do that. I have no idea.
A lot of trust in you.
I think I was just terrified that he would kill me if I did it. Because I never did it. I like to this day that save file is still there, which is amazing to think of. But yeah, he had that set up. Yeah, I think that's when I first got into like nerd culture, you know, video games, stuff like that. And then like my brother also who's got me into anime, because he would watch it, and then he would like I'd watch with him, and I'd be like, what is this crazy ass cartoon where people are dying and bleeding everywhere? And he's like, oh, you know, it's nothing, you know. And I was like, this seems amazing. And then I would just watch with him, and I was doomed from the start. Is basically what I'm saying right now. I was doomed from the start.
Yeah, I would say so. I was also doomed from the start.
Was there like a family member that like played video games with you when you were growing up?
Occasionally, like my dad would, but I am the oldest cousin on my dad's side of the family, and the next person or the closest person to me would be my sister, and then that's like a 7-year gap between us. So I didn't really have many people to play with, like my family. So I usually played with like my friends around my neighborhood.
Okay, so you had friends, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, I don't need to rub it in. All right.
I mean,
I'm just joking. What else is there anything else you want to talk about, Andres?
I mean, this is your podcast, my guy.
Yeah, I just want to know if there's anything that you what's something that you recently got into besides unboxing.
Besides my shiny cardboard addiction.
Shiny cardboard. Is there anything else you got into recently that you want to like, you know, shout out or anything like that?
Yeah, shout out to meth.
Okay, no, dude.
The real MVP for college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out to that.
I think it's the turn I'm gonna start for this podcast. I'm gonna end the podcast episode with one thing that happened to me.
Oh boy.
So this episode's thing that happened to me is a thing that I think you already know about, Andres. When I moved into my current place, I moved into here. It's a single place, and I had everything worked as perfect. And I think like a week or two in, maybe like 3 weeks in, my dryer stopped working. And this is mid-COVID time, so I didn't want to like go out to like dry clean stuff like that. So what I've been doing is what I did then was I just like, oh, you know what? I'll just hold all my laundry till I go home and visit my parents. I'll do it there. And I put in like these requests to get it fixed. I put in a request, put in another request, put in like 3 requests over the course of like 2 weeks. Is like no one came to check on it. And then the next thing I know, 2 weeks turned into like a month turned into 2 months. It's been 3 months. I've called them multiple times. I've texted them. I've emailed them. I've done almost everything short of just go in there and just drag someone into my apartment to fix it. And the response I always got was that they were super busy, and they were working on my apartment. The management company that manages my apartment complex, they're saying they're super busy. They get someone out here to fix it when they could, like in the order of like the most important issues. Which I mean that's kind of bullshit, but
I mean, yours was like your half of your apartment was in issues.
yeah. I mean, also like, by the way, other things that happened this time was that the railing fell down, and half of the outlet stopped working. My oven has a hole in it, and I mean, I know like, some people are like, yeah, ovens have holes in it, but this one lets heat escape, like not like a little bit of heat, like a lot of heat. I've looked at people's ovens, like it's not like I put my hand over, it's like, oh, it's warm. It's like I put my hand over, and it's like that's hot. It's like hot. Like it takes my oven like maybe an hour to preheat for anything, which I think is long. I'm pretty sure that's too long. But yeah, in this time period that like I haven't had the ability to use my oven or my dryer, what I've been doing, well, I've been able to use my oven because I just gave up on timely food. My dryer, I just been wearing like one outfit for a week, which sounds disgusting, and then I would swap it out and stuff like that, just trying to make my clothes last until like I visit my family and stuff like that. But today, finally, this guy came in. I should probably mention that before that my dad came to visit one day, and he checked out and he's like, yeah, it's busted. There's no way that they can fix this. They have to give you a new one. This guy came for the management company. Came today. It's been 3.5 months since my first request to get my dryer fixed, and he came in, and I was like telling what happened. He's like, oh yeah, and I left to like go sit down on my couch. I came back and he was like, oh, I had a problem is you need like a new knob, and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, your knob is busted, and I was like, yeah, but like how does that affect the dryer at all? He's like, oh, it's complicated in here. You need a new knob. And I was like, yeah, all right. I was just like expecting him to be like, oh yeah, he'd come back and say whatever. And then he came back with a new knob, put it in, and it worked. It works now. And I was like,
That's simple.
I was like, really? Because like when you guys came and like my ex roommate Nick was here, like we tried messing with the knob and that didn't do anything. I don't know what he did. Some type of magic, and he was like also like the plugging in the back was wrong, something like that too. So he did that, and then I was like, well, since you're here, I might as well ask you about all these other things because I don't want to wait another 3 months to get anything else looked at. And he fixed it in like 10-15 minutes tops. He was like, yeah, like all this stuff is fixed now, so I have a completely working apartment. It's pretty
That's
good.
crazy.
Yeah, probably
So
my
I
Canvas
guess you
story.
really, I guess like you were really low on the priority list if the fixes were that easy.
Yeah, I guess.
Huh.
He must have. I'm just glad that my dryer works now. Yeah. Probably my least wild story, but it's a good one to open up about like how my life is.
I mean, hey, you feel less regretful about renewing your lease like 2 months into living in that
Yeah, I
place.
did, because that's the other thing too, is that they have you renew your lease in October, and I moved in August, so I was already like 2 months into not having a working dryer before I had to like be like, oh yeah, I'll live here next year, which I honestly do regret doing because the price went up too. Fuck. But yeah, thank you for tuning in to my first ever podcast episode with my guest Andres. Thanks for doing this with me, Andres.
Yeah, this was great. It
Yeah, I
was
think
very unique experience for me.
I think it's just us talking and hanging out, really. So, you know,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah, man. Like I said in the beginning, thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm sure the three people listening not gonna want me to come back. And so yeah, it was nice being a part of this journey.
Oh boy.
I wish you the best, Michael.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, thanks for joining me. I'll end it here.